Good day. Just want to come in and check in with you um, about what is going on in the world right now. All the changes. It's like times are moving so fast. Times are moving so fast. It's hard to keep up with it. But this is a celebration right now, right? So those who keep the holy days, celebrating Passover, those who follow the Islamic tradition, following Ramadan, participating in Ramadan and fasting, and those in the Christian faith are celebrating Easter celebrations. And what stands out for me on this 30th day, the 30th day of March, the third month of the year on Pope Gregory's calendar, is that the true the true root of all that is in the heavens, right? It's not just coincidental that these times are being celebrated together, because at the foundation of it is what happens in the skies, what happens in the heavens. So I grew up keeping Easter, not in the sense that others might, but it was a time of celebration, right? So I want to talk about that for a while. I want to talk about religion. I want to talk about truth. I want to talk about peace, because truth and peace are friends. And I say that because so often we personify the God that we idolize. Some people idolize God. They idolize God. They worship God. Now, that is not quite in line with what is in the heavens and what our people did historically. It's a little bit out of line with honor your mothers and your fathers, because that wasn't our indigenous, our original way was to worship and idolize. But that is okay. That is okay, to the point that you get to where you need to be, want to be, what you're called to be, who you're called to be. You're able to be your best self with that. Now, I'm familiar with many religions, so I'll just stop and say right now, if you're not seeking peace and truth, this is a good time to just gracefully not watch the rest. Because what I say might be uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. And the purpose of me saying it is to bring peace, it is to bring unity in places where there is none. And I will say, as it relates to wellness and order and peace, that I might have you questioning what you were indoctrinated into in order to help you come to a more peaceful place. Because at the end of the day, it's not that the point to be love, to do what is logical for life, for your village. And when you look around the world and you see what's happening, some of the wars are winding down. You see that people are awakening to the indoctrination that we were given. And I just want to acknowledge that that journey isn't always a pleasant one. In a lot of ways, it's easy to stay asleep, especially if your version of religion, it just really works for you. It works for you. But is it your best self? Does it honor your foremothers and forefathers? Does it address the missing children? Does it address the molested children? Does it address the the problems that we have in the community? And I don't want to go down each one of them, but if you're sitting there and you're good with your God and you're not exercising that godly power inside of you to make a difference, you go to a job, you don't know how it's funded, you not sure about how your condition connects to the next who's suffering. But if you're good and you don't have any goals to relieve anyone else's suffering, I'm going to challenge you on your religion just a little bit. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm saying to put off your happiness because someone else is suffering, but I am saying the path that you take, the things that you have soul ties to, are these things righteous? Are these things righteous? So I'm also going to tie it in to civics. I'm going to tie it in to knowledge and understanding and gaining wisdom. So it's a lot that I'm pressed to talk about, but I don't have a lot of time to fill your minds with what I want you to know. Because it's not just about doing what you're supposed to do, it's about doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. And I admit I'm a little bit late, but that's okay because there's grace and mercy, and I can't change yesterday, but all I can do is be in the now the best I can and to move forward righteously, have a plan to do that with right thoughts, right words, and right deeds. So I want to talk about just the importance of getting knowledge, the importance of being still, being quiet, not only just if you're a prayer or a meditator or whatever have you, not just saying what you want, but being open to receive what is specifically for you. See, when it comes to the major religions, they're more alike than not alike. And it is a plot from those who want to control you, control your finances, control your energy, your mind, control your circumstance so that you stay in low vibration and fear to work for their benefit with at the same time not fulfilling your best purpose in life. Now, these things, someone might say, well, why would she say such dogmatic things? Well, I didn't come upon this on my own. I studied. I studied the history of religion, and I know now that the time we're in, the system that we're in is falling. It is falling. We're in an illusion to a degree about what's happening. And it's my responsibility to share with you as much as I can and create for myself and for others a path to safety. So that's my purpose in peace. And also, I think a lot of people were talking about this. Dr. Sonia Scribbling, I just saw her talking about something that I came to the awareness of a while ago about the potentially negative impact of religion on people when it comes to their thought processes and walking in their fullness. There are several scriptures in the Bible that address things in a way that make one think, oh, you're lowly, so that's better, whatever have you. So you have a concept of this God, of your version of good and the word God. There's a connection there. God does come from the word good. Okay. Etymology is very important that we know the etymology of a word so we can know the true root and meaning of the word. It's not what we think it is, it's what it is. It's not what we think it is, it's what it is. So we all want to speak the same language. That way, people can't really run game on you like they could before. Okay? And there are people around the world who are depending on the people here. It's what's known the United States of America to come together and come into honor. All right. So I was impressed by what Dr. Sonia was saying and challenging our religious beliefs. And also, I hope his name doesn't offend you, but you know what the Don was saying. Now, someone put it falsely out there that he was selling the Bible for $60. He's selling a Bible for $60. He's not selling a Bible for $60. So he's selling a Bible for $59.99. You're like, Kenya, don't be petty. He's selling a Bible for $59.99. So I just want to talk about the anthropomorphic meaning of the Bible. So the Bible is told, the stories in there are told in a way to teach a theme and to teach principles that are universal and that are timeless. They're universal and are timeless. And based upon your knowledge base, based upon how you resonate, your frequency, you're going to possibly receive something different than someone else. I have found that many denominations, especially when it comes to a legalistic denomination, will sit down and really have an argument about something as it literally happened. And then we miss out on the beautiful theme that is being shared in the Bible. Well, how did that happen? That means he would have had to run at lightning speed. He went from here to here in 2 or 3 days. The man would have had to run at lightning speed. Okay, well, we must watch Brother Dalton's video. He has a book and he has a video, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. And this is a video, so it's worth more than 1,000. It's worth 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 words. But it was beautiful about how he showed us about history and language and the different indigenous cultures around the world, and how the Bible is an amalgamation of the various cultures of people. The Israelites in the Bible, indigenous people, are dark-skinned people, some with kinky hair, some with straight hair. But he showed us these indigenous peoples in their natural habitat. Their natural habitat. Did they all wear fringes? No. Did they all call their God the same name? No. Did they all have the same calendar? No. The Bible is one of the scriptures that's left for us to figure out times like this right now. That's what the Bible is about. And I first started to be curious about the truth about the Bible, I think, when I took an African history class. I took an African history class and I learned that the cosmology of the Trinity in the Christian church of being the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit, that is nothing new. And it goes back way, 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 way back. Isis and Horus and Osiris. And I don't want to go down all the trinities and miss them and get them wrong. But when I first saw that, I was like, well, all that Christian school, how come no one told me this? For 20, 30 years or whatever, I said, well, I know God is real. I know that I prayed in the name of Jesus and I received what I would say then was a blessing, transformative. So, how do you experience something in the name of a particular God and then have someone tell you, or you come to the knowledge that there are many different stories that speak the same thing? Like, well, I pray to this God, so you cannot tell me that this God is not real. So, and I'm not here to tell you that any God is real or not real, because the God of your imagination is real. But what's true is that the Bible teaches us many principles, and depending on how you were taught, what was given to you, you're going to see something totally different. And I want to make sure that you are given information so you can find out more richness of what's in here than what you might have been exposed to. More richness, more value than what you may have been exposed to, depending on your upbringing. And also to dispel some of the fear. I want to dispel some of the fear that's in the heart of those who feel like their time is running out. Some of the Gentiles feel like their time is running out. Why? Because the banks are falling. So that means what? If that's what you've been doing, is ruling the world based on taking advantage of Israel, then I see why you are feeling that. I don't want you to feel that, because if people would work together in unity, that then just becomes an unrational fear. Okay. So, without getting all into it right now, going down Bible by verse, you must go to Deuteronomy. Now, see, what I'm sharing is nothing outside of this. Now, I'll give you some history to go along with this that can be verified. But what I am directing you to learn and study, it's actually in here. But do you have eyes to see? Do you have ears to hear? I hope so, because the state of the world now is that we get to choose as humans which way we want things to go. It could be peaceful and beautiful, or it could be all jacked up. That might be different than your religious construct, but is your religious construct true? Is it what you believe, or is it true, as can be verified with what's happening? But if you don't read and you don't know, then you can't measure truth. And that's one thing I really want to encourage you to do, is to learn how to evaluate what is true or not. Because following after someone nowadays, with all the efforts and the energy meant to misguide you and to mislead you and to bring you into shameful positions, right? So you can't just follow somebody. I don't care how charming they are. I don't care how giving or passionate they are about whatever it is in life that they are moved by. These are superficial things. We can appreciate them about someone, but we cannot then think we know someone. And then, even if someone's intentions are good, that doesn't mean that the path that they are on is a right path. And that's the easiest person to follow. They're very convincing. They think something is right and they could be dead wrong. But the ones who are training them to then lead others, they train them incorrectly. So now you have someone who's trained incorrectly, who thinks they told the truth and they're very passionate, and you follow them because they seem so sincere. And they were sincere, but they were just wrong. And it might lead you to having problems, trouble. Okay. So right now we're just a couple days after the raid on Diddy's house. A little bit of truth. A little bit. But they didn't find anything really, did they? I don't know. If you had dealings with Diddy, I said it's okay. Truth is coming out, but you don't walk in shame. Just be like, I wouldn't do that again. If I had it to do over, I wouldn't do it again. I don't want to see people going into shells and doing things to hurt themselves just because truth is coming out. Okay? Truth is coming out. You're okay. You're going to handle it. You're not what people think about you unless you choose to be. So you can develop habits and patterns so you can overcome that. Because I know a lot of people, particularly devout in religion and forming process, right? They struggle with this maintaining an image. And I don't want people to do that. I want to give them tools so they can overcome it. Deep breathing, really. Just be with yourself. Appreciate yourself. Tell yourself right things. You are not above anyone else or beneath. You are not beneath or above. All right. So, something that I want to challenge people to know here at the United States of North America, of which I am a first in line, first in time heir, and upon whose estate the states do depend. And it's important to know who you are. Don't ever think it's not. You were not born Islamic. You were not born a Christian. You were not born into Judaism. You were born, your spirit's in your body. Your ancestors' spirit is in your body. So that does impact who you are. But these things are labels, right? These things are labels. For an example, and we have soul ties to the things, to the principles that we learned, yes. And some of them are wonderful and we should never, ever let them go. And then some of them wreak fear, and these must be dispelled, and we must move beyond that. We must abandon anything that is fear and low level. I'm going to just talk about some fears right quick before I go on to what I want to share with you as far as Bible verses. Do you have the fear of, if I read something that is not in this Bible, if I read literature that is not approved of by the circle that I'm in, that I risk my mind being unguarded and I risk some type of not meeting the approval of the Most High God? Is that a fear that you've been given? I know that I've heard that many times from many church leaders. Guard your heart, okay? This is dangerous. This is very dangerous, because here we are right now on the verge of economic collapse. You're walking around using Federal Reserve notes or floating rate notes that are, in a way, that is dishonorable according to Deuteronomy, because you don't read the whole book. And then the reaping and the sowing and exchanging for equal measure. some Christians don't read beyond what they're told to in their Sunday school or Sabbath school lesson. So you don't even know the Bible. So then people take advantage of you and they call you goyim and say, well, if they would just read their own book, then we couldn't do this to them. They give us consent to take advantage of them, to mistreat their community, to enslave people wrongfully, or put people in bondage wrongfully, I should say, debtors' prisons. And you wait for someone outside of you to come and save you because of the fear that's put into your heart that if you would get knowledge and understanding, you wouldn't have this fear anymore. Okay. Another fear at the end of this part of how USA looks right now, United States of America. See, there's the land, then there's the estates, there are charters, corporations. Sometimes when people say America, they really are referring to the US corporation that's bankrupt. Okay. So that's not the same thing as the land, the name of the land mass. Okay. So when it's clear to everyone that Babylon has fallen, because Babylon has fallen, that means not just the chaos or whatever, but this state of infancy that the people were in, we're waking up. See, so the system cannot stand anymore because it was built on our ignorance. So we have to rebuild a system. Now we could just choose to walk it away, let them destroy it, but it's healthy and normal to choose life. So that's what I'm doing on the anniversary of the repudiation of the doctrine of discovery. 1 year anniversary of the repudiation. So the papal bulls and the Catholic Church and the Pope, who is over all the nations and all the religions, has made claim. I rebut the claim of the Pope on the people. We're not dead. We're here. We're alive. And we are coming into honor on how to act alive. Okay? So as far as Christians go, they would say, well, I'm Protestant. I'm out from under the Catholic priesthood. No, you're not. You think that, but that's not true. Because how about your funds? Do you know about where your taxes go? Do you know about where your tithes go? And those things come from what? You receive it. It's your energy and put into a form that we can regulate and keep track of. All right. But you're feeding into a system that has benefits, but sometimes it has things that aren't beneficial either. So I want us to elevate to what's true so that we can make good decisions. I'm not telling you what to do on anything. I'm trying to just say, let's ask for wisdom so that we can go back, get knowledge and understanding, and it'll be like a cycle. But we don't want to be stagnant in these beliefs that we cannot prove. I don't like the word belief. I prefer to say I have a hypothesis about something and I'll test it to see what's true. That's how we determine if something is true or not. And we're waking up out of the fact to know, and we are strong enough to know, or else we wouldn't be here at this time, that many of us have been lied to. And I'm talking about in all the religions, and I'm not trying to have anybody change who they associate with or the denomination they spend their time in, but no, it's a denomination of currency. It's the same currency to bring you a separate and away from somebody else. Sometimes your very own people, your very own blood. That's actually the difference between the indigenous um, cultures and practices and religion, including the secret societies, because I've read some of the secret societies, and particularly one of them would say, yes, you must choose us over your blood, over your wife, over a family member. You must choose us as a secret society. It says that. But I know back in the day, the saying was, blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. To me, why does that make sense? How would you have gotten here except for the blood and the DNA, the information that your ancestors gave you? And does not the word say, the frequency, the vibration, does it not say, honor your mothers, honor your fathers, that your days upon this earth will be long? So it's actually okay to ask, what did that actually mean? To honor your mothers and your fathers? Does it mean just to have some good feeling about them? You would know that this thing is about more than feelings if you actually were in Deuteronomy. If you were in Deuteronomy and you keep the holy days and you read the holy days, the details of them and what they did, this is the story. This is the principal part. All right. You will see that it's part of the indigenous people's responsibility to care for the land, to care for the land. See, you're being told parts of what is true. Now, this is important to know because we need to, as a people, we need to know international law. We need to know civics because you're being pulled into dishonor. You don't know it. It's dishonorable how we are taught to manage our finances. The way we are taught to manage our finances is dishonorable. Why would I say such a thing? Look at the debt. Look at the US debt. The system, as of today, the 30th of March, as of today, because it's not going to be like this very long, it's going to actually flip the other way. And we are going to come into honor. We are going to come into honor. We're going to come in to honor. There's more than one way to do it. There are different people who teach it. I say, get a book on the redemption, get the redemption manual, and learn one of the ways to do it. And it's not easy waking up, but we must wake up. We must wake up. Literally, and I'm not excluding myself because there's grace over me right now, but not for much longer. There's grace over me in the fact that I have not claimed the bonds on my life. Yes, there are bonds. There are bonds, whereas if something were to happen to me, somebody could cash in. See, I've been on a journey to come into honor, though. And I hope part of the reason that I've been preserved is to help others come into honor. And part of it is to claim our land. To claim our land. Allodial title. Allodial title is the highest title. But many of us, we don't know about that. We don't know about land titles and land trusts and charters. And it is our responsibility to know. What I am thinking will happen is that there'll be a few of us who will be able to do what we need to do and claim the rest, and we flourish. And then even some of these stories about um, some of the religions, like people sacrifice their own, their friends. They sacrifice their friends, like literally. Sometimes to prison, sometimes to death. Yeah, I notice different patterns. People passing away on certain days, and come on, go to targetedjustice.com and you can see all the weapons and the tools that are used to control people. But we have to come out of this, because when you play that way, then you have no choice. You can smile if you want to and feel as powerful as you want to, but the Hermetic principles clearly can see the law of cause and effect and the law of vibration. And basically, let me sum it up. This part is like that cycle. You put certain energy out, so then you're always wondering, when is that going to come back? You have to break the cycle. Oh, well, just one more time we'll sacrifice this, or just one more time I'll do this immoral thing. Just one more time I will degrade someone. Just one more time, because they have to earn the right. They have to earn the right to be treated with dignity. Okay. At some point, you might want to ask yourself, when are we going to let it go? Because April 8th is coming. Okay. And I suspect April 8th, it's not just what I suspect. I command anyone by the power of the Ahaya Ashar Ahaya to loose any plans to bring any hurt or harm to people. Would you do it for money? No, because that will be reversed. The system is, all those who are being owed will be restored. Would you do it for power? No. Power, yes. I'm sorry, fame. Would you do it for fame? No, because many people who are in these powerful positions, they hide. They hide. So probably not for fame, but for power, probably. And because things are shifting, we have to get used to being in different positions. So you don't want to predict. You don't want to predict what other people are going to do or how it's going to be if you don't carry out a wicked plan. All right. It's time to teach. It's time to love. It's time to defer judgment. It's time to share. And I feel that energy is coming in. I really do. My heart is touched. Am I completely healed of my situation, stress, and drama? No. But I plan that I will. I received it. I receive it. It's just a matter of time of it manifesting. And for those who plot against me, I do have receipts for who and what. So that's not a good thing. We want to come into righteousness right now. We want to come into righteousness. Okay. So how do we know what is right or not? Righteousness is truth. Righteousness is life. If you have a path where you're bringing destruction to someone else, whether it be for sport or for money or power or laughs, there's a number of motives that drive people into bringing harm to others. You know you're not on a righteous path. Now, if you've never been given it this way before, I think the universe has mercy on people, right? You have friends that the whole circle of friends are misguided, and so you get on a path and you are, do things wrong. People make mistakes. They do things wrong. And I'm gonna just say this right now, because so many people's lives are being on display. I'm gonna use Puffy as an example. Stop calling men who don't want to be called gay gay. He's a man who likes to have sex with men based on the evidence. He seems to be a man who likes to have sex with men. That's not the same thing as a man who likes to be categorized as gay. I think once we have this conversation, we can move past it and stop trying to figure it out. That's the biggest thing. Don't call somebody out of their name. Don't call somebody out of how they want to be identified. There are a lot of men, unfortunately, to me it's unfortunate because I don't think the body was used for that necessarily. I'm just going to be real. And when they come into lying about it, but I think this is one reason why some men lie about it is because people don't take time to really hear and understand what they're saying. And they're in denial themselves about maybe why they're in that particular pattern. Some people want to be in that pattern. Some people, like, when I say they want to be in the pattern, like they like the lie and the hide too. Okay. Men who want to have sex with men, they're going to say things like, well, I'm not going to tell you what they're going to say. I'll tell you what a gay man would say and the difference. A gay man would say, yes, I love men. I want to be with men. I fall in love with the man the way I can't fall in love with the woman. I've heard this before. Okay, so this is how I know someone who identifies as gay, but still might even like women, but they identify as gay. But then you have the perceived to be heterosexual man who fits the culture and norm of being masculine and might be involved with women. And he does many times, not always, but most of the time, he doesn't want to tell the woman that he enjoys men too. See, this man, you don't call him gay. Why would you call him gay? He would be categorized as a man who likes to have sex with men. Let's just start right there. Okay. Now, I don't even know how, I do know how I got on that tangent. I guess my whole thing is when we talk about things, just talk about them intelligently and in a way that isn't like offensive off the break. And then we can get to some real conversations about what's happening in our community. We have a community, according to the law, we call legal idiots because we're contributing to the debt. We're giving our energies using public funds, but we're private people and we have a way to really shift things. So my plan in the public, in my state, that others are welcome to join, that I will declare officially later on today. In my state, I claim a loyal title to our lands, right? In my proper person. This is what we need to do, and we need to self-govern. And that goes to the root of why I'm talking about religion, because how can we claim and come into honor when we don't know the truth? We what we have been told about the truth is not the same as the truth. And we don't have time to play. We don't have time to be self righteous. We don't have time to say, well, I don't believe you. Well, prove me wrong. Like quickly, quickly. It's a year. It's a year after the Pope said all the contracts are null and void. If something happens, it's because we didn't do it. We didn't make the moves we needed to make. So I want to talk to some more of my brothers, Indigenous brothers and sisters, later on in the day. I just want to start this out here. So here it is. If you live over here on the United States of America, Amaru, Turtle Island, to marry, beloved land to marry. I like that. If you live over here and you have not read, biblical holy days, Passover, Ramadan, Easter. Why you have to read other literature too. Because when you read the Quran and things like that, you'll see what it says in the Bible in the Old Testament about paying taxes and that sort of thing. And I'm not talking about that you don't pay taxes on the land or that you don't pay taxes on your business. That's not how I mean it. Okay. I'm talking about your energy, on your energy. You don't have to pay a debt to be. You don't have to pay a debt just to exist. All right. As far as taxes on the land, I'm not actually totally against that. I know some people are, but see, I understand this whole thing is fictitious. And even the gold and the silver, right? We have to be careful about that too, because you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver, and there's such thing as barter and things like that, right? People have different things that they assign value to. So with that said, I'm kind of open-minded and broad about this because I also know you can pay a tax and you can also claim that back and get that right back in your pocket. And then you have this currency flow. When you take appraisal classes or classes where you can look at the economy and see how things are really working, I think we want to be careful just to get on a point and say that's wrong or, ungodly or whatever, when you're not looking at, hey, you think it's wrong, you say it's wrong, but if everybody didn't do it, then you wouldn't have the benefit to sit there and say, well, I'm not doing that. Yeah, because everybody else does and you're reaping the benefits. So I want to be careful about that because it makes sense to keep things flowing, especially when people's needs are being met, when you're meeting people's needs, when you're handling finances in a way where you meet people's needs. Then I think that's the point of it. Does everybody have shelter? Does everybody have food? Does everybody have the opportunity to get an education, to contribute to society in a way that's meaningful? Even in the Bible, people who didn't have that, they left the trim around so that the stranger could come and get some food for the one who didn't have a land to grow enough food. And I know someone who that's how his people took care of the land. So I'm saying, we just, like I said, we all have to be ourselves because we have to be ourselves. No identity thieves. Because we can't look at you and get from you the example that we're supposed to get and match it up with here because we not clear on who's who. And it is an amalgamation of different peoples. So, and it's symbolic. Some people know this, they know it very well, but just because they're so used to speaking to others who also know that it's symbolic, sometimes they don't tell you, they're just speaking symbolically. It's given that they're speaking symbolically. Many people who have adept knowledge, like a DT, he has adept knowledge. He knows why he loves the Bible. He loves it because it talks in here about how it's not honorable to pay taxes. If you follow Caesar, look up the word Caesar, Cesser, look it up, etymology of Caesar. If you follow the Caesar, pay the Caesar. If you follow Caesar, pay Caesar. That's what it says. But you don't know that Caesar is Caesar, but that's what it is. When they put it together in 325, that's what it is. But if you follow Christ and Christ's principle, like the 33 degrees of, you had 33 vertebrae when you first born before they fused together. If you follow the high consciousness of being your manifesting into your best self, then that's how you pay your energy to being your best self. And you put currency into the economy in other ways. You don't do things to cause inflation. That's the problem with taxes. They cause inflation, and now you see people on YouTube crying about how they can't get in, they always paycheck to paycheck. Someone told you to work off your debt versus to claim the debt and discharge it and offset it. It's all backwards. It's all the opposite. So let's see here. Did I lose my page? I got all excited and I had my notes. The DT, his Bible, is the King James Version. King James was a brother, a dark-skinned brother. I don't know what other kind of lies they told about. He was the king in Europe. He was dark-skinned, okay, and indigenous people over there. It was under his reign that they decided which books to keep or not keep. That's why it's important to get the other scriptures, because they tell you more about who you really are and how you got here. Okay. About Enoch and things like that. The world is older than what you were told it is. So just know that. If you read the other books, you'll gain a better understanding. It's okay to know. You're going to make it through. It's only ego and narcissism that would cause you to not be able to make it. And like I said, the tools of really taking care of your body and knowing that you came with the equipment that you needed to make it is going to help you. All right. The book is it's $59.99. Now, they tell you don't know numbers. Don't pay attention to that. That's of the enemy. Well, if your oppressor is your enemy, then yeah, it is of the enemy, because your oppressor knows the numbers. You can look in the IRS code to verify this and pay attention. You'll find they match the numbers in the Bible at where they are in the Bible verses. That's why the wealthy would love the Bible, because it's coded book of banking. How to accept it, that discharge it, offset, forgive yourself. Even in the Bible, every 7 years, a debt was to be forgiven. You're not to pay a 30-year debt pledge in a system where you're given IOUs and you never claim your estate. Okay, this kind of unrighteousness is not sustainable. So we have to come into righteousness. And a lot of things I'm saying are based off of readings that I've undertaken for the last several years, the last 2 years. But I'm still learning. And so I can refer you to the books that I've read, and I can show you step by step some of the things that I'm doing, because in a state full faith and credit are given to public works. Okay, so I'm not just here to like listen to myself talk. This is actually a public work that I'm sharing with you. What is righteous on my ancestral lands and estate. Okay, 59.99. You notice what else has like 5 in it? Because when you ever see 9, it cancels out the other. So I know you add 5 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. I'm not going to go to hell for adding, because where is hell anyway? Hell is in jail and prison, where you have all my brothers and many of my sisters who did not commit violent crimes, sitting and wasting. That is hell, according to the law dictionary. So I'm going to pay attention to the numbers. 5-pointed star, the same one on the flag, the same star when you look at the Masonic emblems. When you go to the bankers, have the star. You see the star at many places. And some say the star represents head, arm, leg, leg. It's just star. A star in and of itself is a star. You don't worship the star. You just pay attention to what things mean. It indicates the manifestation of man. The 5 does. And 5 may mean many things, but this is what I take from it in this case. Now, the man also told you that with the Bible that he's selling, that you don't have to get or you can get. It's up to you. But I heard people teasing him because he was, quote unquote, hustling like a Bible. But I kind of know this. It's up to me to tell my people who they are. It's up to me to tell people you're the people in the book who have been sleeping, and Nehemiah 10:29, following quote unquote nobles and cursing yourselves with oaths. It's up to me to tell you that. He's sitting there holding the Bible and telling you, I love this thing. I love this. And it's many people who, like me, have grown up in Christian church who would say the same thing. Don't put anything on top of the Bible. But they wouldn't say they love the Bible. They might say it's the word of God. If it's the word of God, then how come you haven't read the whole thing? You haven't read the whole thing for wisdom and understanding. Because if my people read the whole thing and knew who they were, we wouldn't have our children be miseducated. We wouldn't have them with body parts being cut off. You wouldn't be working jobs where these type of things are acceptable, and you make excuses for the dishonor. So I don't think you read the whole thing. I don't. It wasn't designed for you to read the whole thing anyway, honestly. Because if you look like me and you haven't changed your status, then you're being considered under the 1724 Christian Black slave codes, where you can't own anything anyway. The corporate state owns it. And you leasing your stuff from them, and they're taking the security interest in your estate. How does that honor your mothers and your forefathers? And because we don't know this, the debt gets deeper and deeper. But see, now we're just going to switch it. I'm going to claim it. I'm not going to be the only one that claims it. There are other people who have already made claims on it. The Moors have already made claims. I will say this, though. I will say this. We also need to make claims to know who we are, right? We don't have to come through a noble. We don't have to come through the blood of any other to be righteous. We are righteous with our ways. Some might say that's legalism. No, it's morality. And I don't say it from any high place. I don't say it from any high place. I say it from a place of learning and knowing that had someone given it to me the way I'm giving it to you right now, there would have been less stumbling and less heartache and less hurt. And I'm inviting people from all religions to take a look at their practices and line it up with what is love, what is good, what is sustainable. Okay. And that will be a miraculous thing, because I know some people are coming from a place of fear and hurt, but you can get over it. I've seen people do it. So, the Constitution for the United States of America, there is more than one, and it's a document that it binds the government on how it is supposed to care for and treat the natural persons and the people. Now, if you would read it, okay, let me just go down all the ones he said that are in there. I've read these documents. So, and this is not even talking about treaties, the treaties that are foundational to how things are done. Okay, so the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and I still remember the Pledge of Allegiance. That if you notice the Congress, they don't really say the whole thing. Pay attention. They don't say the whole thing many times. And then the flag with the gold trim around it is a flag under the occupation of the British Crown, which we actually still are. So the British Accreditation Registry, the Bar Association. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance. When I read the Declaration of Independence, I realized why we weren't taught civics. We weren't taught civics because if we're taught civics, we know the truth, and then we can't be controlled, and then we're not going to have people in high places wondering how they're going to balance the budget. We're going to balance the budget because we're going to live off of our estate. We're going to live off of our estate, and we're going to create more currency, and we're going to take care of the people who are not being taken care of. We're going to take care of ourselves. I say right now, Department of Homeland Security, thank you for raiding. Okay. But I don't know what you found all these, how many weeks later. Someone said it was like they're trying to save themselves so they don't have egg on their face. Excuse me. The fact that things got so bad, the fact that things are so bad on this land is in part because so many of the activities for the Department of Homeland Security are against the people who are being miscategorized as 14th Amendment citizens. We have been miscategorized as the enemy of the state because once we wake up, it has to change. I think people will still have, of course, you're going to contribute to society, but just in a way where you don't have to step on somebody to maintain the system, right? And I guess in people's desperation, they take money to do things that are ungodly. And I claim all my rights as a living indigenous woman to these lands. Not that my rights are always and fully respected, but I claim that. And I trust everything will come into order as I do what I'm supposed to do to stand up and claim my own for my people. Because we don't want to have any lies going into this new era. We don't want any lies. They're not going to last anyway. So we put ourselves in danger when we try to maintain lies. And the one who knows the lies the best and the most is the one who's telling it. So I don't have to tell anybody what their lies are. You be still and be quiet with the Most High, or Allah, or your, or Ahaya Asha Ahaya, I am that I am. I will be who I will be. Right? You be still, and it will come to you what the lies are. I trust that everyone who has breath, everyone who has breath has the Holy Spirit, the Son Spirit, and it'll come to them, to you. Ask, ask, ask. So the Bill of Rights, no. In the Declaration of Independence, you can see that the savage Indians, yeah, those were us. So then now when you see in the treaties that quote unquote Indians are excluded from different rights, right? Well, it makes sense why Moore would warn you about not calling yourself an Indian. Because it's like, don't call yourself an Indian, call yourself a Moor, and you'll be in your proper status. But that doesn't mean that culturally the people were not called Indians. The Aboriginal and original Indians were the Coppertone people who have probably, yes, maybe amalgamated with some Moors and some dark-skinned Europeans or whatever. But some people were told, hey, your family they're the original people, and we can self-identify. And if someone makes that claim and they're dark skinned, okay, that makes sense, because there were no indigenous pale people. Some people call those the $5 Indians, the ones who paid, like a little bit of money to be on there. Some people maybe married in, or maybe some people actually do have a lineage of that, but like not you full blood indigenous and you have blonde hair and blue eyes. And I imagine this is maybe a scary time for some, because I know some, because I've been to powwows, I've been on reservations where you get there and then, like DT said, and people misinterpret what he's saying. He knows what's going on, right? I'm from the Jersey Shore area, so I know what's going on too. And I saw the business, the casinos move, and he's saying, yeah, you're giving the Indian tribes, but those people don't look Indian to me, because he knows that the people who receive the land back and the benefits from it, like the commerce, that they didn't, it wasn't an equity. I know it wasn't an equity. Okay, so it was $250,000 a year, but that don't mean it was an equity. Especially then when they're told their generation can't inherit the land and things like that. You come on now. Just tell the truth. So because if people are ignorant, they try to make it seem like he made a racist statement. No, he knows who the original people are. That's the great Masonic secret, who the people are. We're the people. You don't think he doesn't know who the people are? He's trying to say, if you're trying to take a benefit of those said Indians, then at least, he's like, don't play me. Like, I'm a player, don't play me. That's what he was saying. Maybe if I did not know Mohegans, if I did not know Pequots, maybe I would think he was racist too, but I know because I've been there and I have people that tell me the stories about the true history. All right. The true history. So it's our own prejudice. It's our own prejudice that we tend to miss what people are really saying. We have to learn how to listen and read. And if you don't know something, know that that's just something you don't know. You might not know a thing. If you haven't spent time with the culture and learn firsthand for yourself what's going on, see, that's how the oppressor does it. They change the history in the books. They change the history in the books. And then you go and read something and think it's true without verifying it against what is true in real time when it comes to you spending time with people and being next to something so you can experience it with your five senses, not just like one or two, but your full self. It's very helpful. Okay. Um, and then again, the word God comes from good. And I just encourage everyone who really um, says that they want to be that's a good principle to be honorable as it relates to your mother and your father. And if you haven't been, come into honor. I haven't always been, come into honor. Who's perfect? The one who puts themselves out there as perfect is the most broken because they have to maintain an image to make themselves feel good. So you're the value, period, smack dab. You're the value. You were made perfectly. Whatever you are to do in life, you are already equipped to do it. You might have to hone the skill or tap into it, but you are perfect. If you have been walking in a way that is wrong, you've made a mistake, you were taught wrong, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's okay to say, I was taught wrong. Because only truth will last in this next era. So, as it relates to being truthful and knowing that truth and peace go together, the importance I'm saying is because don't recognize that even the structures that we accept in commerce is based in religion. And the point of the doctrine of discovery, I've said this before, I say it again, remind you, it was to discover our lands and conquer us. Discover our lands and conquer us. And I would like to see us redeem ourselves and move to the next phase to see what this new sun is bringing in with the angle, with the eclipse, the healing that comes. See, that's the truth. That's the miracle of the body. Is our and the word even says, go heal thyself. See, that's why he likes the Bible. Go heal thyself. Let alone we accept that, hey, I don't accept it, but we hadn't been accepting in the old that people come together, cook up something to sicken people, and then send it in the community. And then all of a sudden we forget. I say this sarcastically, all of a sudden we forget the God that said, heal thyself. The reason the man likes the Bible is because of the story where the Christ walked on water. Walking on water is to walk on the sea of commerce. There's more than one interpretation of that story, but that is a popular one. To walk on the sea of commerce. And another interpretation is talking about how the sun moves across the water. Yes, that's the truth. That's not what I believe. That is true about the anthropomorphic meaning in the Bible, about the 12 disciples, the 12 houses of the zodiac, and the various indigenous stories that went along with those 12, 13 houses, the 13th house, the feminine energy. So, did you notice Dinah was the only girl, the 13th child? Well, I don't know what order they were born, but I'm saying it was 13 children of Israel, 12 men, and one woman child. The 13th house is a number for feminine energy. And there were people who died to stand up against the idea of this Trinity, because that's not indigenous to the tribes like that. Because it takes a masculine energy and a feminine energy together. The Holy Spirit is considered a feminine energy, and then the masculine. But we're just coming into truth, and I don't want to overwhelm you with it. But like I said, I have a lot to say in a little bit of time, and so I just want you to have these things to chew on a little bit, and then also to understand me. Like, why do I say some of the things that I say? Did I just pull that out the air? No, I don't pull anything out of the air. I might not be 100% right all the time, but it comes from something or someone that something I've thought about, or maybe something that I've heard, and then I go back and research, and it makes sense to me. So, Hosea, I'll just do, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject you, that thou shalt be no priest unto me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. But guess what? We're waking back up to the law. We're waking back up to what is moral and what is ethical. And we won't even get into that, about the inconsistencies that some have in the name of religion. We have to break every chain. Nehemiah 10:29. They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse, and into an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses, the servant of God, and to observe and do all things, all the commandments of the Lord our God, and his judgments and his statutes. First of all, let me just remind you, who got here like with two daddies, or who got here with two mommies? Not to say they're not coming into that technology. Okay, I get it. But it's a man and a woman. And then if we knew the Hebrew or the ancient, we would know as alphabet. And when you put it together, it represents the man and the woman and the child. That's the perfect manifestation of the Trinity. There's a teaching on it that's really good. Eventually, when I'm able to learn how to take time and put all my categories on the side and link videos and everything, I'll start sharing some of the videos that I helped. And usually when I hear something from someone, it's not that I am saying I agree with everything they say, because I read so much, I see the fallacy in things, but they might have said something that's so valuable, that's what I would be sharing the video for. So with all things that I say, that anyone says, you chew the meat, take out the bones. You know, okay. It's not good to just dismiss things just because you don't understand them. And I like how Dr. Ray Hagan's teaches talking about this circle represents everything, all the knowledge that you have. And so if you're teaching and sharing, like I'm teaching and sharing, then I'm going to share things that are outside of your realm of knowledge. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Just because you came in here with this knowledge, it doesn't mean that there's not knowledge here. So when we're learning something new and we have different paradigms, we have to remember that. We have to remember that um, I'm listening to this person, being open to the fact that I don't know what they're saying is true or not, but it's definitely different. And it might be worth studying. All right. So, and then we have to humble ourselves to know that it's okay to learn something brand new. This is called the awakening. So you're not gonna be able to stay in your same state. You're gonna be awakened in some way or another. Uh-oh. That means it's getting late. Hosea 4. Oh, I read that. Oh, I didn't read 17, 18, and 19. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Well, I think Ephraim is very representative of the African Americans, which I don't identify as. I identify as an Aboriginal indigenous woman on the land of peoples. But Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. So we here doing business near the states. Um, this is like the largest part of the inheritance. So isn't that where Ephraim was a grandson of Israel's favorite son Joseph, right? So when you study and know who Judah is, Judah being Britain, wasn't Judah King George like a brother? Okay. So their drink is sour. They have committed whoredom continually. Her rulers with shame do love. Give ye. And the wind hath bound her up in wings, and they shall be ashamed because of their sacrifices. So my battery is low. I guess that's a message. I don't know what's wrong with my charger. But I just wanted to share. I wanted to share and start thinking about these ideas about the difference between truth and belief. Truth is not the same as belief. And you can't make it the word be something it's not. It's called etymology. And that's another way that my people are held down, is because we're told that Masonic sciences in and of itself is evil. Now, there are evil things that are done with the Masonic knowledge. No doubt. There are evil things done with the Masonic knowledge. But there are also righteousness with the Masonic knowledge. Is our ancient history, our ancient knowledge too. Okay. So compliance and conditioning. I'll get on that another time. But these are things that we just want to pay attention to in these days. Ships running into bridges. Very interesting. But I call it, I accept, I accept the charge to teach I accept the charge to learn more. I accept the charge to help right the ship, to settle the debts to whoever is owed. Whoever is owed deserves to get paid. Whoever is owed deserves to get paid. And those who have been victimized here, um, we deserve to be made whole in equity too. Okay. Thank you for listening to me. I've had fun just sharing some of these things. I didn't go as deep into it as I could, but just a little something for you to chew on. All right, we're coming into righteousness. We're claiming our estates. We're going to be true about where our estates are. We're not going to claim someone else's estate, and we'll be back.